I have my wine. Well, let me think. Should have done this first. I need another drink. This hoe is like on another planet. Can pull me from the dark. Hi friends, we're back today to talk about Vanderpump Rules episode 14. Let's get into it. I'm gonna need this. I needed it. So this week we had multiple cringy moments. I don't know how I made it through this episode. I was literally that meme of Sheena in the Sir Alley, like taking hits from her inhaler. It was intense. It was maddening. It was so many words. I can't even properly describe it, but because it was so crazy, I'm gonna try to like be a little bit more concise or like to the point with my video this week because I don't want it to be like an hour long. So let's jump right in. Right off the bat, one of the most cringiest moments was when Rachel was shopping with Charlie and the origin story of the lightning bolt necklace was revealed, and lo and behold, she bought her own necklace. Like, it wasn't even like something romantic that, you know, Sandoval bought it for her, and like, she literally bought her own necklace. So, you know, without talking too much about her, I thought that was hilarious and like kind of sad. The way Tom and Tom are like working together to set up this narrative of Sandoval and Ariana's relationship dissolving, just being in such a bad shape, I'm wondering, how did that happen? Like, did Sandoval come to Schwartz and say like, hey man, you know what's going on with me and Raquel and I really want to be with her, so will you say X, Y, and Z to the cameras so we can set this up so that way when I break up with her, it all makes sense? Like, how? Or is it like an unspoken agreement? Like, how does that work? Because they're not good actors and it just seems so set up. It seems so scripted. It really seems like they had some sort of like full-on conversation to cover all the bases of like what needs to be said about their relationship. Like Tom complaining about batteries and toilet paper. Mind you, I heard Kristen Doute's podcast this week and she said that Tom's assistant does all that shit. Like, it's not Tom being the man of the house. He has someone do all that shit for him. Like, he's so like, why are you talking about batteries? It's crazy to me. And then at the end when Schwartz says something like, oh, you know, people end up just getting too comfortable and or they end up getting comfortable being dicks to one another. It's like, yeah, you would know about being a dick to your fucking wife. Then at Tom and Ariana's house, when they have that talk about their relationship, and again, Tom's trying to set up this narrative of him just trying so hard and Ariana just belittling him and embarrassing him and never being able to take his side and having to go against everything he has to say. Like, his voice is so whiny. Like, that's one of the most unattractive things in the world to me is a man with a whiny voice. It's like, stop complaining. And then his fucking crocodile tears, like he's trying to like like push it out and then nothing's coming out. Like, he's dry as a fucking Sahara desert. It's asinine. The delusion that he lives in, like, complete narcissist in his own world, trying to make these pieces fit when in reality, like, you're the one with the fucking problem, bro. It's so scary and like sick and twisted, and I feel bad for Ariana having to deal with this man. Like, I'm so glad that they're no longer together because he's toxic. Like, he is just really off. And the whole quality time discussion, like what Ariana thinks is quality time versus what he thinks is quality time, like going on mushrooms and staring at the stars, like, you're a 40-year-old man. Grow the fuck up. Quality time in an adult, mature relationship literally is hanging out, watching shows together, making dinner together, not going on an acid trip in the freaking desert. He's, I'm telling you, just in another world. And again, he's also talking about things that you would probably do, that he probably does with Rachel. Like, his, like, that's the kind of things you do when you start a new relationship and you're trying to be like fun and cool and do all these like things. Like, again, like, just shows his maturity level, shows his emotional maturity. Ariana's like, she deserves 10 times better, and that conversation was just awkward and sad. Then we have James and Allie at their house. He's getting ready for the Imagine Festival that he's going to go perform at. And the one thing that bothered me in some of that conversation was when Allie is asking him to go to therapy and start looking for a therapist, and he's so just not into it. He's like, everyone around me is talking about, me going to therapy, but I don't need to, or I don't think I need to. It's like, yeah, maybe that's a sign. Like, if everybody around you is saying, hey, why don't you look into therapy? That probably means that you need some form of therapy. I don't understand the people that have the most issues, the people who should really have some sort of therapist or like support system in that sense. The ones who need it the most are the ones who are so unwilling to do it. They're so reluctant to get that help that I really feel like if everyone in general would go to therapy like once a month, the world would be so much better. It would be filled with happier people. It's just sucks that even in 2023 with how the world is, that some people still look at therapy as a bad thing or has a negative connotation, but it shouldn't. More people need therapy. When Tom and Terry are having their like kind of private conversation at SUR, it was definitely awkward, but I'm glad that Terry had that moment for herself, like as a mother and also as a woman going through a divorce. She's a mama bear. Like, she needs to have that moment. She needs to say her piece to her ex-son-in-law, who has been her son-in-law for 12 years. I'm glad she had that moment with him. I'm glad she was able to say what she needed to say. I loved it when she asked him, like, was it worth it? And he's like, no, it wasn't worth it. Like, if I knew me kissing Raquel was going to cause such a big fallout, I would have never done it, which is bullshit, because in one of the flashbacks that they play, it shows Rachel and Schwartz at the pool talking about forbidden fruit and, oh, if it wasn't such a bad thing, I probably wouldn't want it so bad. They purposely knew that this was going to hurt and bother Katie, and they still went through with it. Like, you're just being drunk and stupid, and that's absolutely no excuse. And now you have to live with the consequences. To know that you hurt the person that you were supposed to be the closest to in this world. I talk about Sandoval being a narcissist, but I feel like Schwartz has some narcissistic tendencies, and that's very common and very easy to spot, because not everyone who has narcissistic tendencies is a narcissist, but it's definitely out there. There's a lot of selfish assholes out there. I need another drink. Now, coming in as a second cringiest moment in this week's episode is Ariana and Rachel at the bar and their one-on-one conversation. So Lala talked about this when she was on Watch What Happens Live a couple weeks ago. Andy talked about it too, so we were somewhat prepped for it, and it really is diabolical. It really is freaky. It's like, who is this girl? The fact that she felt so just nonchalant about asking like super intimate questions about Ariana and Tom's relationship, it's just weird. Like, the way she segued into it was like so abrupt. She's like, now, I wanted to ask you, like, how are you and Tom doing? And knowing what we know now, say it every video, but it's like, wow, you're fishing. Like, you're really trying to assess the relationship, the status of the relationship, to see, maybe Tom was like, he kept telling her like, oh, like, we're pretty much broken up, like, we're miserable, blah, blah, blah. And she wanted to like hear it from Ariana, and she definitely didn't get what she wanted. Like, Ariana's like, yeah, like, I think he's so fucking hot, and I, really think that we just need to talk more and spend more time together and just work things out. And because Raquel's even like, so you definitely are not done with this relationship. Pretty much asked her flat out. And Ariana's like, no, like, I wouldn't have these conversations if I didn't care, if I didn't want to stay with him. And then Ariana talks about how, talks badly about her body image, and then it somehow triggers Rachel to like cry, but also maybe it kind of was crocodile tears, because I didn't really see any waterworks. And then she like is able to gather herself, and she just talks, she's like, yeah, now that I'm single, I realize how important sex is in a relationship. It's like, yeah, bitch, like, now that you're fucking Tom on a regular basis, now you realize how important that shit is. Like, it was disgusting. Like, Ariana says it on the preview to the reunion that was dropped this week. She's like, you're diabolical, you're subhuman. Yeah, All true. Check, check, check. It is. I actually, because of this scene and then like how she talks to Katie, I literally Googled the difference between sociopath and psychopath, and I still couldn't even try to decide which one she is, but she's one of those two things because this girl is like, it's insane. I also heard Michael Rappaport on Sheena's podcast this week, and he's like, all young actresses need to do a character study on Rachel because this girl is just like over the top. He said it, and I said it last week or in one of my previous videos, like, you can't write this shit. There's a writer's strike, but like no writer would be able to come up with this whole storyline involving all of these people. It's just crazy. And yeah, that conversation was just, it was sick. And I feel so bad for Ariana. Like, again, watching it back, I can't imagine seeing now that what her intentions really were. It's like, you were never my friend. You never cared. You were trying to fish and see if what you were doing behind my back was okay, because maybe it would have made her feel a little bit better if she heard Ariana say like, yeah, like, I think we're over, like, I'm gonna break up with him soon. She'd be like, okay, great, like, I've been sleeping with him and it's like, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. But she didn't get what she wanted, and she even let out like this like like disappointing sigh at the end of the conversation. She's like, okay, let's take these shots because they've been sitting here for a while. Oh, she's a terrible human being, because I don't know what drug she was on. Like, please, if anyone has any guess, like, what drug gives someone the biggest balls in the universe for her to walk her ass over to Katie at Katie's party, it's like Katie and Ariana's party, but like, and sit down and have a conversation with her about what she should and shouldn't do with her husband, her ex-husband, but husband, like, at that point in time, they're still married. They're waiting for the official documents to be filed. Like, who are you? Like, where do you get off? She's just like, I don't appreciate you. Rage texting Schwartz. You really have no place to do that anymore. You guys aren't together. I was just like, I will tell you one thing, Katie has way more patience, way more self-restraint than I would ever have. I saw a meme somewhere on Twitter that, like, if this was 2007 Bad Girls Club, like, it would be on and poppin'. And it's so true. Like, yeah, I would have snatched that bitch's hair. Her talking disrespectfully to Terry. She's like, what, Terry? She's like, oh, God. It's like, bitch. Ooh, like, ooh. Oh, I'm getting worked up. I need another drink. This hoe is like on another planet. Rachel can't even comprehend a relationship of 12 years, much less a marriage. So for her to feel like she has any right to speak on that is just wild to me. She's like, I would want a friend to stand up for me. It's like, no, that is not your place. You just stay off to the side. Why do you think you have the authority at all to question Katie? And the other thing that just, I mean, this whole scene, it was just like insane and intense, right? And then you literally see Schwartz get up because he's in the area of like this intense fight, and he like runs away, like off to hide into the bushes. Be a fucking man, Schwartz. Like, you're a little bitch to just run away instead of stepping in and being like, okay guys, like, let's calm down, like, you know, obviously not take either side because he doesn't know how to take Katie's side. So he probably would have taken Rachel's side, but at least just to like show your face, because it's literally a fight about you. It's just, that was such a pussy move, like, in my opinion. Schwartz, he just keeps, you know, I do not even see him as a man at this point. He's a giant baby, a fucking 40-year-old man who doesn't know up from down. It's just, it's sad. And then Lala delivering the line of like, you have a better chance of getting somewhere with a pig, or whatever she said, but like calling Rachel a pig. It's like, yes, Lala. Again, Katie had so much restraint. Like, she called her a little cunt, and Rachel was so deserving of that. And finally, she had to get up and like get away from her because she just kept going and going. And sadly, Terry was trying to calm her down. She's like, Katie, like, no, I don't want for things to get like that or get to that point. But then she also tells us, she's like, Raquel, shut up. I was like, yes. Tell her, Terry. It was crazy. Everyone's faces. Ariana, when she like walks into the argument, she's like, like, I was like standing up. I like had my hand on my head, like on my face. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? And then it goes to like commercial break, and like I walk to the living room and I'm like, Mom, you have no idea. Like I was just, I'm worked up talking about it now. And then you had Sandoval jumping in, trying to defend Rachel because that's what he has to do. And he's talking about, oh, that's not fair that Terry's like fighting Katie's battles. It's like, no. And he's like, oh, no one can talk back to Terry. But according to Kristen Doty, or the co-host that she had on her podcast, she was there that night, and she said that he specifically like went off on Terry, like cursed at her. He's just a terrible person. And for him to defend Schwartz in the sense saying like, oh, Katie, like you're fucking other guys while you guys are still living together. It's like, let's back that shit up a little bit. Tom Schwartz cheated on Katie multiple times while they were dating and married. So that's like way worse than her dating someone after deciding to get divorced. It's like your arguments, the way you defend people is not even right. It's like, get your fucking, like, shut up. Just shut up. It's so annoying that he, again, is just so passionate about Rachel, but his own girlfriend, because when she's crying on Lisa Vanderpump's lap, having a mental breakdown because is put in the middle, and she's like, there's no way for her to figure things out, like this feud between the people that she loves. Instead of going to console her, he's over here fighting Rachel's battles and putting Katie down, and like he hates Katie. Jax Taylor said this, that Tom's friendship with Tom Sandoval is the reason why Katie and Tom Schwartz weren't able to make it, because he would always, and I believe it, and I thought that throughout the years, throughout the seasons, like he just is like this little like voice in his ear and was always talking shit about Katie, putting her down, and oh, he's a battered wife. It's like, no. Katie was in the way of him being able to have full control of Schwartz. Bottom line. So then we get Tom and Katie in the infamous Sir back alley, and she's trying to have a one-on-one conversation with him, and then little Miss Rachel walks out to interrupt them. It's like, oh my god. At that point, okay, maybe in the restaurant I would have held my shit together and not put hands at her, but she comes out again to interrupt me talking about God knows what. It's like, no, I'm grabbing her by the hair. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. Like, I really can't. And she's talking about, oh, I am empathetic and I'm sorry, and just like, stop talking and go away. You're just making things worse and worse and worse, Raquel. And she finally does go away, and then Tom's like still kind of defending her to Katie. It was just a fucking mess, and he's just kind of laughing, like Katie has to finally walk away from him because he's still not getting it, and he's like kind of laughing it off. He's like, geez, like, you're an asshole. I just, for the reunion, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna need more wine. It's just, not even the reunion, I mean next week. It's a lot. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to conclude this recap, this reaction video, because like shit. But I'm really glad. Blah, blah, blah. I think I'm a little buzzed. The wine's like 15% alcohol by volume. What time is it? But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you hanging out. If you can, check out my other videos. And I hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys. Can pull me from the dark. 28 minutes. Jesus.